All right, we're good.
Post in the Facebook just to make sure everyone knows.
Yeah, I'll do that. All right, we're good. What's up, guys? We'll be starting in a second.
I think audio of your stream is still muted.
Is it?
Yeah, I can't hear anything. Oh wait, sorry. No, it's fine. I'm an idiot.
All right. I'll wait for a couple more people in the chat to get here.
Sure.
I think we got enough. All right, let's get this started. All right, what's up, beautiful people? Everyone in the Oz FGC, and even if you're just watching it and not even the FGC, thanks for tuning in. This is the first podcast. Like, I haven't figured out a name for it. I think I'll run with Beastcast just temporarily. We'll call it whatever you want until I figure out a name. Thanks for tuning in. Been wanting to do this for a while now, but yeah, I figured, like, what the hell? Let's just get over and done with, get the ball rolling. My first guest is Alchemist. Alchemist, say hi to the stream. How you doing?
What's up, everyone?
What's up? If you can hear him clearly, let us know. Like, this is super spontaneous, and I'm not the most technical guy, so like, if there's a few soundbite issues, let us know. We'll do our best to fix it. Anyway, yeah, like, we'll mainly be talking Tekken. We're both Tekken players, both veterans in the scene, so we're gonna get a grasp on our experiences, and I want to get a feel from Eli's travel experiences. He just got back from IESF in Korea, so like, if you want to open us up with that, how was the experience there, Alchemist?
For the trip to Busan itself, I was very, very proud to be chosen as an English commentator. I mean, how often does something like that happen, especially to someone in Australia, where we have very little exposure to Tekken in general, especially in an overseas environment. So, just to start off, I was very, very happy with them acknowledging the Australian scene in a way. For the trip itself, I was also excited to see how players from other countries would fare against Gab as well as Cornova, because I know we have a pretty good showing for Australia going to this tournament. So I didn't know what to expect, because, you know, these countries I've never heard of. Like, you got Namibia. Apparently this guy's like the best player in his country, and he qualified because he was the best player out of his 5 friends. That's how he made it.
Yeah, the lineup of countries was pretty crazy. Like, there were some countries that wasn't like, these people play Tekken. But yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It was very strange. But yes, I was really excited. And getting there and finally doing the commentary was a very different experience than what I'd usually have with doing YSBs, OHN, or BAM. Because first of all, like, they had a costume for us. We had to do makeup. So it was like very esports, if you will.
Yeah.
I wasn't really used to it, but I'm not complaining. Like, it was a very pleasant experience. They pretty much do everything for you. You just have to make sure that you perform as a commentator.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of fun doing the commentary there because it was an entirely different style of commentary as well. Because I was working with someone that has very little experience with Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do a lot of the filler work, and a lot of the time he was doing the presentation,
Yeah.
which I think he did really well.
Okay.
For those who don't know, I'm talking about, it was rapid casting.
Okay.
He was a StarCraft 2 League of Legends caster.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, who was the guy that was paired up with you?
Yeah, his name is Rapid Casting. If you want to follow him on Twitter, if you want to check him out, it's at Rapid Casting.
Okay.
Yeah, he's actually a very storied commentator, if you will. He lived in Japan for a year and a half doing commentary for League of Legends, trying to bring up the scene. But in Japan, League of Legends isn't really the biggest game. It doesn't really have that much of a scene. So he eventually moved to Korea, where he was hired by a company, and now he just he gets hired for these like agency jobs, I guess, where they need English commentators. And it's a very tough competition over there for people who wanted English commentary, because esports is growing more and more each year. So it was really nice to meet someone in his position to give me a perspective on maybe what I might be able to do eventually with commentary. For the event itself, I was disappointed that I didn't get to commentate any of Gab's matches. I was very much looking forward to doing commentary for his match, because he plays Claudio, he plays a very fun style.
Yeah, and as a local Aussie, you'd want to commentate that match.
Yes, definitely, for sure. I did get to, however, commentate an OCE Brethren's games, which in the form of Cornova, who I met for the first time, and I didn't really know what to expect of him as a person rather than a player. But when I met him, I think it was one of the first times where I'd met someone for the first time, and I was able to talk to them about Tekken in terms of the technicality of the game and the numbers and things like that, and he'd be able to keep up.
Okay.
I don't mean any offense to anyone, but he actually knows a lot about the game, and I respected him from the start because of that. It's not something people delve into a lot, where they want to know all the inner workings of Tekken, or because it's a very, very complicated and convoluted game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even Tekken veterans, like I think I can call myself one, playing since Tekken 5. Like, you know, you have your players who, you know, aren't the most like, when it comes to like the data and the frames and like the knowledge, and like that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work, and to invest into that as well as like playing and like everything else Tekken encompasses, it's a lot of work. So I feel you on that one. So yeah.
And just to go on, I was saying I actually got to play against Cornova, and it was one of the first times, I think it might have been the first time I've ever played a player from New Zealand that wasn't Zazob. And Zazob, I've only played in previous events where he's come over from New Zealand to play in like BAM or something, or some, you know, for another event. So I playing Cornova, who is probably, or arguably, the best player in New Zealand. It gave me a perspective on their scene and where they are, and you know what they can do to improve and what they are doing to get better. And it was a really good eye opener, because Cornova, like I said, is a very intelligent player in terms of the gameplay.
Yeah.
And in terms of the data and the numbers, but he also backs up the understanding of the game with a very solid foundation in terms of fundamentals, good timing, and overall skill. So I know I'm babbling on about the.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'll just get to the point with it. So the tournament itself didn't go the way I expected, and as I'm sure it did for most people, with the fact that Jungding didn't win the event. I'm pretty sure everyone expected to just, you know, steamroll the competition.
I mean, even like the drawings for the pools, like, you know, that was kind of a mess of in itself. Just that one particular death bracket, Pool B, that Australia was in, along with Philippines. It was just like my heart went out to Gab, and I was like, he could not have got a worse draw. The poor guy.
Yeah, it was quite possibly like the lowest roll possible in terms of luck.
Yeah.
So he got everyone that you shouldn't want to verse.
Yeah, every single person that you didn't want to verse, he got.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I just played Junding, I lost. Now I have to verse like a slightly weaker opponent who's still going to destroy
Yeah,
me.
exactly. Yeah,
So it doesn't get any better from there. But unfortunate for him. But
yeah.
the pools are as they are, and because of the pools, we got to see because of the pools how they were drawn out. We got to see some of the other countries make it into the further stages of the tournament, like Switzerland, for example, who was the Eliza player Kira, who
Yeah.
I actually know via Twitch chat. I've been
Hmm.
talking to him for a while. He's actually considered one of EU's top players in terms of tournament performance. He wasn't really known, I think, before Tekken 7 or before Eliza in general.
Hmm.
But meeting him for the first time and finally watching him play and beat Junding, I don't think anyone will deny the fact that watching him play and do well against Junding and all the other players was extremely hype. Like you can't deny just an underdog player, a dark horse that no one knows, comes out of nowhere and does well against Junding and all the other players. Almost makes it to the finals. I think he placed third, if I
Yeah,
remember
around
correctly.
third. Everyone likes a
Yeah,
good underdog story.
yeah, he almost beat Book. So it was like very, very interesting to watch. As well as another standout performer being Israel's representative. I can't remember his name. Sorry, Solid Stone
Hmm.
thing. He was a Dragonov player, and he had really, really bad habits that you can see were ingrained into his play style via online. And I was told that by other EU players that this is how he plays online, so it's stuck with him. But you can tell that he has a lot of experience when it comes to playing Dragonov because something I noticed is that every single chance he had to get a wall carry, he would do the optimal wall carry regardless of what position or distance he was at the wall. So he'd do something I very rarely see. So he'll do a screw and then dash forward 3 into the cancel into 1-3 to carry shorter distances rather than the 4-1, which is I very rarely see that. Like, he knew every move to do at the right situation to get the right thing that he wanted.
Sounds like
So
you're
I
sizing
really,
up. Sounds like you're sizing up the competitors, even though you were on commentary. Seeing
I
how.
actually got to play. I got to play a lot of the players.
Oh, that's good.
Uh, I got to play against Portugal,
Yeah.
Namibia, Azerbaijan, New Zealand, one other. Who was it again? Oh, I don't remember the country. And the last one was Book from Thailand. I got to play against Book, which was a very exciting set.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I wasn't sizing him up in any way. Just I was interested to see how the different playstyles differ in terms of regions, because obviously they play differently than we do. Like a lot of people would consider like American Tekken at a medium level to be just do it or like something like that. Like, I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Whereas
No, we've all heard that expression from describing American Tekken before.
yeah, and where you go to Korean Tekken, it's described as reserved, very slow paced.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I wanted to see how that fits into the playstyles of players and if I can get a feel of how they. And overall, so just to cap off the event, we had uh, Dojin winning the event,
Yeah.
who was playing character roulette as he always does.
As he
Just
does.
just messing with every character.
I mean, Mr. I play
Meeting him
12
was
characters.
exactly, but meeting him was actually really interesting because you see him on stream and is a very somber, serious. Has a very somber and serious presence, and he looks like he's always angry or like very focused. But I met him in real life, and he's like a 5 foot 19-year-old guy. That's like the most jovial person I've ever met.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Gabe told me he's young too.
Yeah, he's 19.
Yeah, that's super young. And to be
And
playing.
he's always. Sorry, go on.
No, yeah, no. I was just saying to be playing that well at that age. That's props to him.
Yeah, and he was just hanging out with his mom the entire time. So it was like a really really I don't know, like wholesome person. I think that's the word.
Shout outs to bringing your mom to tournaments. I
Yeah,
know
so
that
I
feeling.
was really happy he won. He deserved it. Like
Yeah.
he played out of his mind. He played really well, and it was a great event. I think the only thing that can be improved upon is to get more countries in there like Japan, America, to get more exposure. Other than that, I think it was a very good event. A lot of production value went into that. Like being there, you can see the production value.
Yeah, and like just speaking from Australia's perspective, where we don't get too many chances on an international scale unless we go all the way out ourselves. It was just great that we even got like an invite. So,
Yeah, I agree completely.
did you ever think that like commentating for the finals in Sydney that you'd get asked to come to Korea?
Absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
I remember the very first time I did commentary was we were walking around in Sydney looking for dinner. I was with friends. I was with Yusuf, Dave, and a few others. And Yusuf said he needed which for those who don't know, that's Fade. He needed commentators for OHN. No one was volunteering. So I said, "Do you think I should do it?" And he said, "No, I don't think he'd make a good commentator." So then I said, "Yeah, sign me up," just to spite him. Yeah, so I ended up doing it, and the first time I did commentary was August 26th, 2016. So that was not too long ago. And
Yeah.
like within a year, I was already invited to this career thing. So the time in which I went from A to B was unimaginable to me. Like I
Yeah.
could not even begin to comprehend how fast things would move.
Yeah,
And
let's touch on that just like for a moment. You already mentioned it a bit about your commentator beginnings, but like in this short amount of time, you've gone from like not commentating to probably arguably one of the best commentators in Australia. So like where how did this all come about? Like your progression to like this top level commentator. Like where did this drive come from?
I honestly don't know. I just always wanted to try commentary.
Mm.
I felt like it was something I should give a go because I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not the best tournament player. I'm really bad in short sets. So I wanted to be more in the scene in some way to represent Australia, or Sydney rather.
Yeah.
So commentary was something else for me. I wanted to do commentary just to test my ability in front of the microphone or the camera or whatever you want to call it, and in a presentation level. And I knew I had the knowledge to back it up. I knew if I wanted to do commentary, I would do analytical commentary. And eventually, from when I started doing commentary, that's all I was doing. I was doing play-by-play.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know anything else. I just said the numbers, the moves, and exactly like what was happening. And as I did more and more commentary, I felt like I can add things in. So I started going deeper into the game, explaining the mind games. I would call people out on misinputs. Like if they did something, I would know it's a misinput because that was not the optimal move to do in that situation. They was probably doing something else, and it suddenly got this instead. And timing and stuff like, in general, what the game plan of either player might be at any given time. And so with that, I kept doing more and more commentary, and I started doing solo commentary for ISBs before the final. So I just do pools and re-pools, so like casuals. And I learned that you can interact with the audience in a way through that, as well as while doing that, you can still do play-by-play as well as hype commentary combined with one another.
Do you have a
And so I
preference in regards to solo commentary or mixed up with someone else?
It depends. I like doing commentary with people who can keep up with me.
Yeah.
Take that as you will.
Yeah.
But there's people who I've been put with that do the exact same thing that I do. So like, you have two play-by-play guys, and it makes absolutely no sense to have two play-by-play.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
like,
play-by-play.
I wouldn't put that on you. I put that on a TO. Like, being able to recognize which people go together. Like, but I agree with you. Like, some you have to take into consideration, like who to put together. Who to put together.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, sorry, and sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Yeah, so I wanted to see like the commentary. I really enjoy doing solo commentary, mainly because when I do solo commentary, I do a lot more viewer interaction.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy viewer interaction. If you ever watch YSB casuals, you'll see I'm always reading chat. I'm always trying to engage with people in the chat, make sure they feel welcome.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great thing. Like, I would definitely stream Tekken if I had the internet, because I would absolutely love to interact more with the Australian tech community as well as the international tech community. Unfortunately, I just don't have the internet for it.
Yeah, well, you and a lot of people. That's like I'm sure a lot of people like, and I think even streaming helps with your commentary practice. That's one thing I found. Just being able to riff, just being able to ad lib, and just being able to relate to your stream chat. That's one I think that I found that's helped me personally.
I agree. And just to go on something Giggs has mentioned in the chat, I do very much enjoy doing commentary with Colin. He has a style that I feel like I fit in well with. He does his thing, I do my thing, but I know where I need to stop, and he knows when to do the same thing. Like I think we complement each other really well, and I really like doing commentary with him.
That I think is like key. Like one of my pet peeves when I'm commentating is someone who does not give allowances for the other person to speak. Like I'm not gonna name names, but yeah, like and the ability to know that and just give way, like even it's just a big thing.
I think if you're doing I know you've done commentary for a fair few years, so you know who you like doing commentary with. But you can feel that when you're doing commentary with someone that you're comfortable with, you can basically just do you, and you won't make any mistakes. Like it'll just feel natural, it'll flow. And I feel like I have that with Colin, and there are a few other people who I've done commentary with unexpectedly. Like I won't bring up anyone specific, but that I've done commentary with that I've very much enjoyed doing commentary with.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'd be better with someone else.
Yeah.
Because their style is too similar to mine.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bring up one. I think Yuvan is an improving commentator actually. I think he's done a lot. Before when I first started listening to him commentate, I didn't think he'd do very well. But I did commentary with him at OHN for I think the first day. And I think he did really well for himself. I don't know what he did to improve, or if he even tried to improve.
No, like from like the period where you probably first heard him commentate till that point, he had been putting work in. So, like it's all practice and like realizing your shortcomings. So
yes,
like even still, I agree with you. Even you can improve as a commentator, but there's still like stylistically, there are some duos that just like you probably wouldn't put together. Like it's like you don't want to put two hype men together, like because you want some knowledge, like assuming they don't have the best knowledge, or like you don't want to put two like guys like yourself in. So just taking all that.
I 100% agree. That's exactly that's I've always made a point to talk to Yusuf before majors about commentary teams, and I try and get my input on the teams to make sure we have a commentary team at any given time that is good for the game, rather than just having two people say, like two people just continuously throwing out jokes.
Yeah. You need to be able to flow with a person. Like, if I got someone that's not a Marduk fan, I'm not gonna gel with them. But yeah, so that covers your commentary roots. Like, what about Tekken in general? Like, when did you start playing? Like, when did you delve into the game, like the FGC competitively?
Okay, so I first started playing Tekken competitively, and I joined the scene in July 21st, 2012. I remember the date exactly because I had an exam on that day that I failed.
What is it about failing exams and Tekken there's a correlation for so many Tekken players?
So I was wandering past George Street, and I wanted to go get food with a friend at Macca's, and I realized that there was an arcade right next to the Macca's. So there was, and I noticed, I went upstairs and I said, oh wow, they have Tekken. They have like 7 Tekken cabinets.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I just started playing. And my first ever team that I played in Tekken Tag 2 was Paul and Brian. I really liked Paul as a character. I liked Brian because I remember watching a friend play him at an arcade a long time ago. And I said, wow, this character's cool because he had, the maniacal laughter when he does moves and everything. So I sat down and I started playing a few random people at that point, and I realized now that those people were Sydney players by the gamer tags of Rufio, and I don't remember the other one's gamer tag, but his real name was Derek. And I was just playing and playing, and I think I was doing quite well for myself. I didn't understand the tag system at all. I didn't even know. I just knew tag button because it was the same as Tekken Tag 1, so I just pressed it. But I was just doing random things. I didn't have any frames. I just pressed buttons and did Death Fist. So I was poor. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And because of that, I was just playing around and I was doing well against these players. A player by the name of Lord Silver, who you guys know as Aris, was the first person in the FGC that I talked to. He talked to me. He said, "Hey, you're doing pretty well. You want to come out more often to the events? Do you want to get better or something?" He tried to get me into the scene, and I think without Aris, I wouldn't be where I am today because he did a really good job of setting the scene as a family And it made me really feel accepted, especially back then when I was brand new. Like I didn't know anything about fighting game community scenes. I didn't even know there was a scene. I thought it was just like some random kind of shed playing Tekken. And, and so I eventually joined the same team as or the same clan as Aris, which was Freelancers, which was run by CTC, and we had a very strong team. I think we had CTC, we had the twins, Ed and Al, we had Aris, and a few others. I don't remember them all off by heart, but we had a very strong team, and a lot of the players in that team helped me get better and understand the game. And eventually, I wanted to learn a character where a character that was not played. I saw way too many Brians, so I said, who is never played? So I saw Jinpachi, and the moment I started playing him, he became my favorite character in Tekken.
That's right. I remember you being a Jinpachi player.
Yeah, so Pachi Paul was my main team.
Yeah.
And I remember there was an infamous setup named after me. Apparently, I was told this years after. It was called the Alchemist setup, where it was at the wall I do down forward 1-1 into down back 1-2 with Jinpachi. It had like 100% success rate for like the first time I do it anyone. But yeah, people caught on, and this was before I started learning the game. And the thing that prompted me to learn the game in its finer workings was another player from Sydney named Stefan, aka Handbag, who started shit talking me on Tekken Zaibatsu, saying I don't know anything about frames. I disrespect players, and it's that kind of tough love that drove me in the right direction to try and improve and actually hone my style as a Tekken player, rather than continue just mashing buttons. Because I genuinely just did mash buttons. I would never stop pressing buttons.
Yeah,
that was my entire play style, and so that was how I first started in Tekken, and I think over the years I've just become more and more interested in Tekken as a, lack for a better word, science, rather than just a game. So I like to take the game very, very analytically when I play as well as when I watch it, and try and analyze it myself.
So like a real OG when it comes to like originating from the arcades, it'll always be like your preference, like most of us that started at the arcade.
Yeah, I was definitely an arcade player. I still love the arcade. I wish there was an arcade scene, but unfortunately, that's just not how things are these days.
Yeah,
we know that.
I can 100% relate. Like even now, where like I haven't been to an arcade in, I can safely say around a year, and like I have been playing on console. I have my own arcade stick and everything. I'm just like, it's still not the same. It's still not the same.
Nah. But I do like something about the ever-changing landscape of Australian Tekken. And that's the fact that because it's gone out of the arcade and into like a offline setting where you have social interactions, you get to meet and include new people into the scene, which I think is a far greater strength rather than a weakness after moving out of the arcades.
Yeah, I mean, like if I had to choose one between the other, like for the prospect of seeing growth, you're gonna have to shift over the console. But yeah, it's just how the way things are now.
I agree, definitely. And to continue on my point earlier, I just want to say that you said how did I get started competitively?
Yeah.
My first ever tournament that I went to, I believe, was probably OHN 2012. 2013. OHN 2013. And I remember, it was at the Red Room back then.
Yeah.
So I remember going to the first ever big tournament and seeing 300 people, or however many people there were there. And I was just amazed that fighting games could bring so many people into one room just to play the game. And that really made me want to stick with it. I think that does that for the scene these days as well. Like you go to these excellently planned events such as OHN, such as BAM, where so much work and time goes into them with these TOs, and it really shows that they put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. And I'm sure like people see it, and it might be their first tournament, and they'll have a great experience and want to come back.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like the struggle with like the FGC scene is converting. I mean, it has to be top 3 in my opinion. Top 3, converting online players into offline players. And like you get the people posting online. They're part of this social media group, and they're like, you see them online, but like, where are these guys offline? And you're just trying to convince them, and Major comes around, like, come along. Like, it just takes one. It takes one event to convert someone, and like when they come, you're like, your arm's twisted. Doesn't even have to be a major. I've seen some people come out to locals, and like the environment is just so warm and welcome, and yep, they continue to stick. It's just that initial hurdle. So apart from Korea, you've played some Tekken in Japan. You have you not?
Yes, of course. Played a lot when I was in Japan in 2016 November, as did everyone that was there.
Yeah, how's your like? Was it? Did you get to play enough? Like, how was your experience there? Was it enough to level you up?
I didn't reach the rank I wanted to. I feel like I could have gotten better, but the main reason why I didn't feel like I got the rank that I wanted was because I just didn't play enough. I could have played more, but obviously it was my first time in Japan, so I wanted to do Japan as you would if you were there on a vacation for the first time.
Yeah, the first time I went. Sorry to cut you off. I'll be quick. The first time I went, like, I was 100% the same. I'm like, I'm in Japan, like I'm in like this place I've always wanted to explore. I'm like a big sightseer, but like whenever I went to like Sugamo, like the pool for that's like, I've never been to Korea, so as far as I'm concerned, that's the mecca of Tekken for me. Like the first time I went into Sugamo, I'm like, I'm just gonna spend an hour, and that hour turns into like 10 hours, and I'm like, yeah, I can't let this become a thing.
Yeah, that's the thing with Sugamo. I don't think you're gonna find, maybe Green Arcade is a good example, but I don't think there's anything else where you'd call it like the home of arcade Tekken.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is. Like, you go in there and you can like just see all the Tekken memorabilia. You see the footage from old tournaments in the background on the screens, the LEDs, and just puts you in a state of shock, because it's an entire shrine, if you will, dedicated to Tekken entirely. And it brings you into that zone where, like, oh, I'm here to play Tekken. Like, and it feels so good because, I'm sure all of us that go to Sugamo are there to play Tekken.
Yeah.
Like, you're not there to play Dragon Ball, whatever that game's called, or Gundam, or whatever. You play it as a side game, but you're not there to play it as a main game. So, like, seeing that just motivated me to play some Tekken. Granted, I did lose 5 years of my life being at Sugamo from all that smoke.
Oh, yeah, that's the only thing. That's the only thing. Like, apart from that, that'd be the perfect place to play. But every like hour or so, I have to go duck out just for some fresh air. For those that don't know, like, smoking's allowed in Sugamo inside. So, like, and almost like 80% of the people who play are smokers. So you have to bear with it.
I remember sitting down, playing some Tekken, just being me, and I see behind me Nobby in practice mode, smoking a fat blunt, or whatever he was saying. He's in practice mode, doing all these drag combos, and every time he hits something, it's like, he takes a puff of his cigarette, he's like, oh, sugoi.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He's fully in character, he's fully into it, and just looking at his friends every time. It's just hilarious. I love Sugamo. Everything about it is perfect.
Yeah.
Except the smoke.
Yeah.
You get that out of it.
I'm willing to put up with it because of the Tekken is so awesome.
Yeah, exactly. But just to go back on the point of playing Tekken in Japan, I not only played like a lot of Tekken, but I got to experience different play styles.
Yeah.
As I'm sure most people do when they go to Japan. So there's a lot of these players that you come across online where they have these setups that you could never even imagine on some of these characters. So, like, a setup I was saying in the Sydney chat today, like, I remember vividly happening to me in Japan, was this Asuka player. Like, he had rage, and I was going to win the whole thing. Had a huge lead, and this was back when, like, obviously I hadn't had exposure to, like, amazing Asuka players, because Sydney only has box, and he didn't come out to offline events or anything, and we didn't see him that much for FR.
Yeah.
So I was versing Asuka, and this guy does parry, like, he does up forward 3 into parry, but he doesn't hold the parry. He does it as a short one.
Yep.
I delay my attack just so I can hit him after the parry, and then he does rage jar.
Oh, that's crazy.
How did actually to handle?
Yeah, that's like, crazy.
There's all this stuff that I've never seen before, and I think it just opens up so many possibilities of analyzing the game and dissecting it at every level. Like, it was so weird to me, but I very much enjoyed playing in Japan. I think you can't get that experience anywhere else because there's the Japanese playstyle you have to remember, and there's just the sheer amount of games that you're getting.
Yeah, but like what it is it's the amount that you play. I mean, like you're just getting game after game after game, and like if someone leaves, you're getting someone else in a different location who has a different play style, and like you're forced to level up. You're forced to level up quickly. Like when I went up for Master Cup, like initially, like I wasn't supposed to be on the team of 5 because we was playing Tekken 7 and both my characters were gone. I didn't think I'd have time to learn Josie, so I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna play. But in the 2 days that I'd had practice time before Master Cup, I got into a good level with Josie where I could feel competent. It's just crazy how quickly you level up.
Yeah, because you're being put against players of a certain skill level repeatedly. And, continuously. You're forced to adapt as fast as possible. And I think that's a very good environment to put yourself in, especially if you're an intermediate level player that wants to understand the game better.
Yeah, for sure. On that note, like, let's talk a little bit about Tekken. Just one particular point I wanted to talk to you about is it's no secret that, like, you know, we're diehard Tekken fans. Like, we love the game. We're kind of biased, but I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of a hard game to start out with. Like my one criticism of Tekken has been, like, if I can, about the game, it's got like no decent tutorial mode. Like the struggle from beginner to get to like an intermediate level is just, it's insane. Like
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, all good. Keep going.
While I agree completely, I'm also not the right person to talk about because I'm one of the people that believes in the hardcore style of learning anything.
Yeah.
I like to do things on my own, so I feel like most people did start Tekken in that way. Back when there were no tutorials or no anything. I feel like the best way to learn the game is to learn it yourself. Like, yes, a tutorial mode would help.
Yeah.
But Tekken is way too deep of a game for a tutorial mode to ever be implemented that will help a player get from point A to point B in the time span that they want and learn everything that they'll need. Like, you'll learn very generic things, but it won't teach you how to do, like, things perfectly. Like, it won't teach you the advanced techniques. It'll get you to a point where you're proficient to play the game. I think you can just do that via just playing against friends or just practicing mode or just watching YouTube videos. I don't necessarily think a tutorial mode will do anything. I think it's quite exaggerated, the fact that the game needs it, to be honest.
Yeah, that is a good point.
That's just my opinion, because like the hard stuff in Tekken are stuff that players who are new won't need for a long time. So what's the point of teaching them the more advanced mechanics in a tutorial mode where they're not going to use them for a very long time?
I wouldn't say advanced mechanics, even just starting off. I mean, like, it's like we keep saying, Tekken is so deep that like you could ask 5 different people to take a beginner and they'll give him 5 different approaches on where to start off. I mean, I remember for BAM earlier this year, I think just like because of the scale of the event and we wanted to put on like extra curricular stuff for like new players, I think we were asked to like put on like an hour session for new people on like how to start the game. I'm like, where do I even start?
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that completely, but if it, like I said, also I didn't say this, but to go along that point, I think it depends who you're trying to engage as an audience, how you structure a lesson of that kind of style, or like not really structure a lesson, but maybe just try and break down the game for people. Because if they're new, they obviously want to have fun as fast as possible. So you probably want to, and you want to gauge how well someone, how fast someone wants to go with the game. So you could just teach, if they don't want to go too far, just want to have some fun, just want to be able to play against some decent players, have fun in casuals. You just teach them like combos, tell them to learn their characters' moves, as many as they can, and like see which character fits their style best. I think that's all you can do at that point, to be honest. Do you think there's anything else you can add to that?
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on the person and their motivation, like how much they want to learn the game. Like, I aim it for the long run or like just to button mash. But to be honest, Tekken isn't really the best button mashing game. I mean, yeah. Yeah,
That
it's a weird issue. It's a weird issue. Like talking about it now, it almost makes sense that there is really no tutorial at this point, because it's just like, where do you start? So, yeah, I do agree with you. I see where you're coming.
I think honestly, the fact that we have the internet these days,
Mm-hmm.
you have access to so many different types of guides and resources is no reason isn't reason enough for you to not want to complain about there not being an in-game tutorial mode.
Yeah.
I mean, can you not just do what you want to do in a tutorial mode via online? Like, you can just go Tekken Zaibatsu and learn the basics. You can go to YouTube and learn the basics, or you can find something that you're struggling in Tekken, and you can just Google it and you'll get an answer these days.
Shout outs to Tekken Zaibatsu, like the mecca of Tekken knowledge. Like, I still use that to this day.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't been on it in a while, but yeah, I remember.
I just go on it for nostalgia and just to see, like, just the old stories and reminisce. And yeah, if you're part of the like OG scene, like Tekken 5, there's some hectic stories. Like, I think some of it's still up. If you're ever bored and want to see how, like, the rivalries between Sydney, the rivals and Melbourne or other states, like, I think there's a decent portion in the Australian forums there, so go check it out.
Shout outs to Luca for making the best and spiciest threads on TZ.
It's funny, like it's funny you bring him up like that. I was watching your deathmatch with Yiggs the other day, and like when the issue came up with Tekken etiquette, I remember him like he made like an actual thread about, I can't remember what everything that was on the list. But it's like this massive list in regards to Tekken etiquette, and it was pretty spot on. It's just, yeah, a lot of reminiscing, a lot of nostalgia. Shout outs to Yiggs. Anyway, so like Tekken 7, you feel it's like in a good place compared to like the other iterations of Tekken you've had a chance to play? Alchemist, you still there? Hello? No, I can't hear you anymore, man. We seem to be having our first couple of technical difficulties. There we go. I can hear you typing.
Okay, we good now?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
It's all good, all good. Yeah, I was just asking like how you feel Tekken 7 is as a game now compared to other iterations. Like, you feel it's in a good place?
Yeah, Tekken 7 is in a great place. Look at the turnout we had for TWT. We had 45,000 viewers.
Yeah.
Like, for Tekken, that is unheard of. That was amazing, and they got to see a level of Tekken which I would be extremely happy to show to anyone and say this is how the game is played at the highest level. And I'm sure they would be excited to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
it has. Sorry, go on.
No, keep. I was just gonna quickly say, bias aside, because what Tekken plays to the core, it's just like Tekken top 8 of like any like previous majors, like TWT, like Seam, like it's just consistently good. It's just consistently good and consistently refreshing to watch. Like I get that from veterans, I get that from casuals. It's just such a pleasure to watch.
And something I really like about Tekken is I feel like it has something for everyone, whereas previous Tekkens might not have appealed to everyone watching at any given time. I think Tekken 7 always has something interesting to look out for, whether it's the slow motions, whether it's the close-ups on trades, whether it's the rage arts, the rage drives, or these big fancy combos that do Half-Life. There's always something interesting happening on the screen. And even newer players, they're watching, like they're new to the game, they've played it since it's come out on console. They're looking at like the gameplay and they're like, oh, I'm learning Korean backdash. And then they watch Knee versus Kudans and like, holy shit, this is how movement looks like at high level.
Yeah.
I want to learn this. Like it just looks immaculate. And I think it's a great game and it's in a great place right now.
Yeah, it's just like, if not for the difficulty level of getting to a good, like, in my mind, it's the number one game out right now. It's it's the best to watch. It's the most exciting. Like it's not numb. It's not boring at any point. I just like
Yes.
would like to see it at the forefront of like. No, I wish well for all games because like Tekken's my main game, but I play a lot of other games on the side. Just whenever I can, I like to see Tekken spot into the limelight, whether just in Australia or internationally.
I agree. And while I am biased, because obviously Tekken is my favorite game, I definitely think right now as a fighting game in terms of overall appeal, it's incomparable when you mention other games because it just has everything. All it's missing is the exposure. That's all. That's what I think.
Well, what do you mean by exposure? I mean because Tekken has been like it's a legacy game. It's been out for a while. Like
Okay, so for example, we don't, for the Tekken World Tour, how there's only one sponsor.
yeah.
So the prize pool ended up being a lot smaller than expected, and that's not necessarily good for on a PR level. Like they don't want to appeal.
Yeah, that's
how
true.
they appeal.
It kind of hurts when your only sponsor is cup noodles, like regardless of how entertaining the ads were.
Yeah, like you're not gonna look at it that way and say, oh, what the hell? But a lot of people, like when they see big numbers, they're like, oh, it's $200,000. It draws people in. Like people watch Dota every year, and Dota has like a $20 million prize pool. Like a lot of the people are drawn in simply because of how much money goes into the game. They're like, it's bound to be good or have something to I'm gonna like because there's so much money invested in it. I think Tekken is getting more and more exposure. But I think, and I'm being biased again, but I think a lot of these smaller regions in the world don't get enough appreciation, and don't get enough. I keep using the word, but exposure. Like Australia is one of the main countries. We're putting in a lot of effort to get our name out there. Like I can see you guys as TOs doing your thing, and a lot of the time you should be getting a lot more than you do in terms of, feedback or like something to show or acknowledgement.
No, like I can see what you mean by exposure. Like especially when it comes to certain countries. I mean, like I don't know how many people know, but like countries like Pakistan, like the Naveed's from, like people wouldn't think they're actually godlike at Tekken.
Yeah, it's funny that they are.
Yeah, but they haven't. It's just like due to the circumstances of the country, they kind of like players can't afford to travel, and it's I guess like you said, for lack of exposure, that there are good Tekken players. It's just getting them out into the public's eye.
Just to go on a comment, Yeeks just posted in the chat. Yeah, it is the first year, but the first year is usually the biggest year because it kind of sets a goal or a standard for next year, and if we can't maintain that, then it's not a good sign.
I know, like I feel like Tekken's in a good spot. It's just like I guess you say it comes down to exposure again, and like learning on the I wouldn't say mistakes, but just like what you've done in the past in regards to all the like TWT. It was run well. There could have been there are like a lot of instances, I'm sure like the Australians agree, where it could have been run a little bit better, but just to grow upon that, like they know what they did wrong, they know what they did right. And like look at Tekken at Evo, like I feel like that was run well, like, and just as a spectacle, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not going to doubt that, definitely. It's just that in some places Tekken is lacking, but I'm sure it's going to make up for it eventually. I don't see Tekken dying anytime soon.
Yeah, neither do I.
Like, don't quote me on that, but I think it's doing really well. And after TWT, it's getting more and more viewers, like seeing how the game performs.
No, like I think it's like just as a game, it's one of those games that's like rewarding as you're improving, and like the drive to stick with that is there. So like people coming into their first year of Tekken, like I've seen people with the like ambition to commit to the game. So like I see it only getting better.
Yep. And this is my last point on I wanted to make on exposure. One of the main points on exposure that you can bring up to talk about like how little people know about Tekken as a game outside of like the American players or maybe the big name Korean players or the big name Japanese players is when Taisei went to Evo and people were like, who is this?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
When Taisei is 100%, without a doubt, the best player in Japan. He's the knee of Japan. he picks a random character and he demotes Nobby or like some other person in arcades. It's hilarious. They don't know who it is, but I can see because of that, like this stuff just doesn't get out there. So it's sad, but more people because of the TWT are getting their names out there, and that makes me really happy.
Yeah, like exposure and opportunity, like those are things that we need. But you know, Tekken, like in Australia this year, like we've seen a good amount of opportunity. I mean, IESF, that was a good opportunity for Australia to put their name on the map internationally. I would have loved to have seen Tekken like on a large scale at PAX. Honestly, I'm still kind of perplexed why it wasn't there, considering the other games. I mean, when you look at the local numbers for Tekken, like at like local Rambats throughout the country, I gotta say, like in every single scene, Tekken is like striving, like Tekken is dominating.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like, there's nothing that comes close to it in terms of numbers for like YSBs, and I'm sure that's the same for Melbourne.
Yeah, it's the same for Melbourne, and I'm pretty sure it's the same for Brisbane and all the other states. So yeah, it just takes like these organizations, people who want to put their neck out on the line to give Tekken a chance, like to have a go. You just need opportunity.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring up like you say not much of a tournament player. Like there is that distinction between like tournament players. Like I remember you bringing up the fact that I think it was last OHN or the one before. Like I can't remember if it was me who asked you for a money match or the other way around. You wanted like a minimum of like a 1st to 5.
Yeah,
like,
I always do minimum 1st to 5, never less.
Yeah, well, why is that, you think? Like you have trouble
have
adapting
you ever seen me play?
Sorry?
Have you ever seen me play?
Like
I don't press buttons until like the 3rd round. I play very, very slow. I like analytical Tekken. I look at it as a science. I try and do moves to see how my opponent reacts. I go into a game and I never have an idea of what I want to do. I focus on what my opponent wants to do, and I don't adapt very quickly.
Okay.
That's I'm getting that out there, but that's not by lack of trying. That's by choice, because I like playing the game in a way where I can limit my opponent's moveset by making them do what I want them to do. I like playing very slow because I think that's when Tekken is the most enjoyable. I like, getting a jab on my opponent and then backdashing until I win by timeout. Like, I like that kind of stuff. It's just playing defense.
Yeah.
In everything, I like playing I like to look at everything I do in life as something I can break down and try and analyze it.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. Yeah, you want to encompass your own style, like your own place, mindset when it comes to Tekken. It's just like the kind of style like that might not be favorable in a tournament format. Do you ever feel like you want to change that, or you just keep persevering until you see the results you do want in a major?
Well, to be honest, I would like to do better in tournaments, but I'm very happy with being a commentator. So I don't know how to balance that out yet, because the more and more I become known as a commentator, the more I want to do commentaries. I very much enjoy it. So me making a top 8 anything would mean I don't do top 8 commentary, and that would be bad for me because it's one less thing I have on my resume as a commentator. So I'm still trying to find the balance between it. But in terms of playing in a tournament setting, I don't know if I can bring myself to play my main, like Kazumi, in a short set style. Like I haven't found out how to do it. Dave, who's in the chat, Lazy Dave, has an excellent short set Kazumi. He's very skilled in playing her in a short set. He knows what he has to do. He's very good with his reads and believes in himself. I think the way he plays Kazumi in a tournament is much better than the way I play her in tournament. I think the way I play her in deathmatch is different in longer sets. But that's not the point. My point is, if I want to play and do well in tournament, I have new characters that I'm going to start using. And this is just because of general play style, and as well as the fact that I know which characters do well against certain people. So, for example, against Lucky Strikes, he does really well against my Kazumi with his Jack. So we usually go like about 60-40 in his way. But I always beat him with my Paul. Like, I versed him in a 1st to 10, and I beat him 10-3 with Paul against his Jack. Because I really feel comfortable playing Paul into Jack. So that's a player matchup rather than a character matchup. Because I know the style difference is there. I also know that Lucky Strikes favors 1P. He always flips for 1P. And I don't mind playing either side with Paul because it doesn't affect the way I move with the stick or anything. Because I play Paul, so I have to do proper Korean backdash. And I'm used to it by now because I've been doing it for years. So it doesn't affect the way I move or anything. But I know it affects him if he's on P2. So I have to try and mind game him with that. So I try and balance these things out.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is I don't like playing Kazumi into Fang, especially Handsome Boy.
Mm-hmm.
So I like playing Claudio because Handsome Boy always loses to my Claudio.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how he plays. He has very bad habit. He does well against my Kazumi a lot of the time. So it's a lot about like trying to find a balance with each character against each player rather than playing a character in a certain style. One style, I don't understand how to play a very, very fast style where I can't read the opponent. That happens often.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I lose a lot. And I'm not going to lie. Sometimes there are opponents who just beat me because I can't read them. And that's good for them. Like, they're doing something well. And I'm just not doing it well enough.
Yeah. Look, I want to quickly bring up the point of you, Lucky Strikes beating certain characters of yours. Tekken's always been renowned for, like, a fairly balanced character roster where, like, most... like the tier discrepancies aren't that high compared to other games, but like in a lot of majors now we're seeing like certain players, aka Ni, aka Dojin, like main more than one character. Do you feel like matchups are more of a thing now than they used to be?
I don't believe in matchups in Tekken. I think the worst matchup in the game is 5.1 to 4.9, and it's probably like Devil Jin versus Ling. Or something like that. I don't think it's ever going to go further than that.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
There's way too many options. It's always going to be player versus player rather than character versus character, regardless of how you look at it. There is no way around that because the player can always make a decision that's going to beat the better decision of the character that supposedly has a better matchup. Absolutely no way around that because the logic is just there. You can always backdash, you can always sidestep, you can always do this move at the right timing to beat this move that he knows is the right move at the right timing. There's just way too many things happening at a deeper level, especially at a high level of gameplay, where you just can't take into account where it's just character versus character. That's just my opinion, obviously, but take it as you will.
No, just okay. That's interesting. Like I've heard varying opinions, but like there are a lot of options in Tekken to get around stuff, but like when you like. When you got like a Claudio versus Ling, or you got like a Gigas versus, I don't know, name a top tier. It's I don't know. It's just in my opinion. Like I see where you're coming from. It just makes it hard to make that argument because some like sidestepping is a universal tool, but some sidesteps are better than others.
Yeah, but then that means you have to get yourself into a situation where you don't have to sidestep. And that's just based out of your decisions before you got into that certain situation.
I guess. I see.
So you have to always have yourself in a good position. Mm-hmm. And that just comes out of an understanding of your opponent. So it's player versus player rather than character versus character.
So according, so you believe that like Gigas has the potential to win a major, given the right
100%.
100%?
A Gigas player by the name of Dodoring, who you obviously know. Yeah, went on a killing spree in a green tournament last year. Mm-hmm. He eliminated Ni, he eliminated Kokoma's Dragonov, he eliminated Junding, who was playing Lucky Chloe back then, and I can't remember the last person he agreed. I can't remember the last person he eliminated. And he was playing only Gigas. He only plays Gigas. And last night, actually, Kokoma's Devil Jin was deathmatching Dodoring's Gigas at Eternal Ruler on online PC. Getting to online Eternal Ruler PC in Korea, like good luck. And he did it with Gigas in a long set format because you have to play long set in Korean online to get those ranks. You're gonna have to go through these superstars. He's doing fine for himself regardless of his character's tools or lack thereof.
So it's not more. You don't feel like it's more of a case of an anomaly? These guys are just exceptional players. They could have done it with any character.
Yeah, but then again, it just goes back to the player versus player matchup rather than the character versus character.
I guess. Let's see where you're coming from. So not to sidetrack the next question too quickly, but what were your thoughts on the latest character reveal?
I'm maining Noctis as one of my main characters. I've played literally every single Final Fantasy game, numbered and not numbered, except 3 games, and I've finished every single one. I'm one of the biggest Final Fantasy fans you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% playing Noctis, and I've already started. Lupa and I are gonna do a first to 10 3 months after Noctis is revealed for the best Noctis in Australia. That's how far ahead we are.
Wow, you got a lot of competition on your hands, buddy. There's a lot of people saying like I'm maining this character when it comes out.
Yeah, good luck though.
But yeah, I thought the idea of him being the next DLC was genius, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. Like no one saw it coming, but it was always there. Like that Nissin cup noodles, the whole promotion thing, and then eventually added to the game. Like I don't think anyone expected a Final Fantasy character.
Yeah, and Noctis of all people. Like if you had brought my boy Waka in from like Final Fantasy X, like I'll be like, all right, I don't need Marok. I'm good. I've fully recovered. Just give me that guy or Orin. Like yeah. But even he just looks cool. Like I'm playing the trailer right now on the stream. Like if you he just looks good.
I really like one thing about him, and that's that he looks fluid as a Tekken character. He doesn't look like Akuma, he doesn't look like Geese, where they look clunky and have these moves that just don't look realistic at a 3D setting. He actually looks and feels like a Tekken character, even though he has these sword moves. I really like that. It's finally a character. I'm really hoping he doesn't have meter, and really hoping he doesn't have jump. Because I've had enough of these characters. I want a character that plays like a Tekken character.
Yeah, that's been my biggest complaint. Like, you know, I know we're like probably not getting a Tekken character or legacy character, which I'm fine with. But you know, every single DLC character as of late, it has been like it kind of breaks the Tekken mechanics, so to speak.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, real refreshing, and I'm just like, as someone who's like an advocate for just progressing the scene, I'm interested like into the amount of people it's gonna bring in.
I agree. I can't wait to see how many people like actually sign up to the game because of Noctis. Because obviously Final Fantasy is a huge fan base. There's no denying that. So I want to see how many people it brings in, and I'm looking forward to all the people trying the character out. Because regardless of who plays him, everyone's gonna have a different style, and I want to see what the most interesting, most fun to watch style of playing Noctis will be. Yeah.
Hopefully, like it's he's not too hard, and at the same time he's got enough depth. Like because I think that was the style based around that was the thing with Katarina. She was made to be button mashy friendly, but you know
she is
obviously doesn't appeal to everyone.
But yeah, on the subject of DLC, so far, if you don't mind me asking a question, how do you feel about Geese, and would you give him a try?
He like every single Tekken reveal, every single Tekken DLC reveal has been like from a spectator point of view good. Like I was at Evo when they did the Geese reveal, so I guess like probably the environment added to like the spectacle. I'm not gonna lie, it was hype. I was like, okay, I'm maining this character. Give him like continued crisis for a character dilemma. Like I'm maining this character. I haven't seen too much gameplay of his. I would like, as you mentioned, hope that he doesn't play too much like Akuma. Like he does have meter, like, but I'm still hoping that he's unique enough in his own way. I will give him a try, but just from a spectator point of view, he looks fun. Like if you can get a DLC character to look fun, I think you're doing good. Like from the get-go.
Yeah, I agree.
I like the same thing with Eliza. Like you can make the argument she's difficult to use. Like she might not be top tier, low tier, whatever. She looks fun. Like I gave her a try. Like first month, she was fun. It was just like I didn't have the drive to keep up with her.
Yeah, she's currently one of my favorite characters to play. I really like playing her. I think she's a lot better than people give her credit for. Because initial reception for the character was that she's very unsafe, but you almost never have to use her unsafe moves. She has like 3 moves that you have to use, and they're extremely strong as a mind game in terms of timing, spacing, and just controlling the overall neutral game. So you can just like use forward forward 3 plus forward forward 3-4, back 1-2-4, and EX dive kick, and that's like your 3 bread and butter tools. And your opponent always has to be scared of these options. And even EX dive kick is the one that's like the unsafe quotation marks, where it has enough pushback that almost no character can punish it in the game. So it's like a safe mid launcher that evades everything from a higher, mid, and low.
Yeah, like if you're not privy to the frames on those dive kicks, they can throw you for a loop. I remember getting like, playing, I forget, a New Zealand player. You probably know him. Plays Eliza.
You played my Eliza online.
Yeah. But like playing this guy, like it was the first time I was privy to just like how crazy the dive kick shenanigans can be. Yeah. It's she can be trouble. She can be trouble.
You get used to it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just she's fun. It just requires the dedication. Yeah, it's Kyo. That's who I'm forgetting. Yeah, that's who I'm forgetting. So, like, just personal preferences as far as DLC in the future. What would you like to see?
If I'm not mistaken, there will be no more DLC characters.
What, like ever, or just for this season?
I think Noctis was the last DLC character.
Oh wow, I was not privy to that info. I thought we get like in a season 2 or something.
No, I don't think there are any more DLC characters, especially not now. They might announce in the future, but I think they're...
Yeah, obviously not now. Like, Noctis will be the last one in a while. But, like, just, like, if Namco came to you and they're like, Alchemist, like, we think you're a good guy, like, you got 3 choices, like, who would you like to see in Tekken before we, like...
3 choices?
Yeah.
Okay. That's really, really hard. I don't know. I think the only character that comes to mind is, and people are going to bash me for this, but I'd like 2B from Nier Automata as a guest character.
Okay,
I really like the design. Another one would probably be... I'm trying to think of a character from another fighting game, but it doesn't have to be a fighting game.
Sorry, who was that first person?
2B from Nier Automata. You could just Google 2B.
2B.
Yeah. Maybe Algol from Soul Calibur. I think he's pretty cool. I would have preferred him over Akuma or something.
Okay. Okay. Oh, interesting. Interesting character design. Yeah, I haven't played this game.
Algol from Soul Calibur, and last one would have to be...
No legacy characters?
Oh, well, if you're counting them, if I want a legacy character, I only care for Zafina. She was one of my favorite characters in the game.
Yeah.
I played her as a secondary. All the other characters, no, and I know you have a soft spot for some of the legacy characters.
Well, just one in particular.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who it is.
Personally, for me, wait, which legacy character was that? Lei?
Yeah, Lei. But
and sorry, someone just pointed out about the Yakuza character who was supposedly going to be a guest.
I heard a lot about that. Like a lot of rumors around this. I haven't played the game. Like I'm not privy to who it is, but I heard something about a Yakuza character. But yeah, it's news to me.
I'm very, very happy that he wasn't added. I really don't like the character.
Okay.
I think
you played the game?
No. But I don't like the character design. I think the last thing Tekken needs is more just generic badass characters. I think we need something away from that. Because right now we have Akuma, we have Geese, and then they went with Noctis, who's a bit of a change. But I think those two, they fit the same role. You want something different. That's why 2B is a different kind of character. Obviously, not everyone's going to agree with me, but I just feel like that you need to diversify the kind of personalities you have in the cast.
Yeah, like make them different enough that you cater to a lot of people. I mean, like look at the deal. You went from like the Akuma reveal to Eliza. Like I know how hyped people were for Eliza. Like I never did play. Did you ever play Tekken Revolution?
I did not. I did not even install it.
Yeah.
It was too different of a game. I didn't even consider it Tekken.
I heard that people liken it, like, because it came out around the same time, it came out while Tekken Tag 2 was out, But I heard people liken it a bit to Tekken 5 while it was out. Man, I'm not too sure about that comparison. Just stuff I've heard.
I don't see how.
Yeah.
It has invincible moves, so it's already very difficult. Very difficult to obviously compare, rather.
Okay.
I can see on this stream that you're still looking at.
Nah, I was saying. I just wanted to get a feel for who this character was.
Did you see the other one that I mentioned?
Who was the other person?
I'll link it in chat.
Okay, yeah, do that.
I'll just link the images page.
But like, for the most part, I feel like Namco have done a good job with their DLC run.
Yeah, I agree.
Like every single one has been hype. Like I remember being at a Couch Warriors Rambat mid-tournament, and Akuma got revealed.
Sorry, are links even allowed in the chat? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's allowed. Let's have a look.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. For those that want to have a look, I'll go Soul Calibur. On that subject of Soul Calibur, like as far as I've known you, you've pretty much been a Tekken player. Not haven't really expanded over into any different games. Is that for lack of trying or just Tekken too good? Nothing else compares.
Tekken is too good, and the games that I like aren't out. So the only other game I would play, I used to be a very big Guilty Gear player. I used to love the game. I've always been a Faust main. I love Faust as a character. His design was so interesting to me as a child. I remember going to the arcade and just playing Faust and just having so much fun. I definitely wanted to get back into GGs. It just never happened because I didn't want to commit to another game when Tekken 7 was just around the corner.
Faust is that guy with the paper bag on his head.
Yes, I played Faust and Jam. Those were my two characters. And the other game that I really enjoy and I played a lot of when I was young, I think I was quite good at, to be honest, was Soul Calibur 3. I didn't play, and 2, but I really got into it when it was 3. I was a Mitsurugi main, I think, and a Raphael main and a Taki main. So those were my 3 characters in that game. And if there was another Soul Calibur, I'd be very, very, very happy to play it. And obviously, as you all know, we have DBFZ coming out, which I will definitely be playing. I was unbelievably happy when Gotenks was announced.
Good man. I like to hear that. I like to hear that.
And
the more Dragon Ball fighter soldiers, the better.
Yeah, exactly. I reckon it's going to be a great game, and I can't wait to see it played. Something to note is I might consider doing commentary for it when it comes out.
Beautiful. You can join me. Like.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. First Dragon Ball Fighter Z commentary duo established right there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm insanely hyped for that game. Have you had a chance to try it, demo at all? Did you try it out at all, Chen?
I refuse to play an unfinished game.
Oh, really? Not even just for the hype.
Yeah, I want to see it when it's finished. And like I said, Gotenks wasn't in the game. I needed Gotenks.
Oh, okay. He's the number one go-to guy, huh? Well, I'm insanely hyped for it. So, yeah, I'll be looking to play you and a lot of others when the game comes out.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait. I'm hoping the netcode is good so we can play these online sessions. I reckon that's going to be like, the game can have like really short or really long sets. And like, that's going to be amazing.
Alright. So I'm gonna put you in the hot spot and ask you like 1 or 2 like questions. Maybe we'll get a couple from the chat as well. Just to round up the podcast. So just in your opinion, might be a hot topic, might be easy to answer, might not be. Like who are your top 5 Tekken players in Australia right now? Don't have to be in any order.
There is no top 5.
There is no top 5?
There is no top 5. There's 2 players and then there's six players who are viable for like the rest of that.
Okay.
Top 6 or 8 or whatever. That's my honest opinion.
Right. I see where you're coming from. Who's your top 2 then?
Navid and Dion.
Okay.
And in the order of Dion being first right now, after Navid not showing up at OHN, and he has been
really,
as of late.
Really, that's interesting. No, like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's your opinion, but yeah.
After BAM, I'm very, very certain on a level of skill and understanding of the game and being able to implement the understanding within the game itself. Navid is the best player. But in terms of performance right now, Dion is the best player. So that's how I'm looking at it. And they're the two players you have to watch out for.
How big do you think the gap is between them and everyone else?
I think it's quite big. I think there are a few players creeping up there, but it's not enough for them to be considered in the same class.
You're willing to name these players?
You mean the other players?
Yeah, that are like slowly creeping up on the potential.
I'll name a few. I think the two main players that are like the closest are Tin and Lupa.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lupa is a top player. I don't know anyone else in Australia that is as aggressive yet as decisive and intelligent in their playstyle when it comes to aggression and controlled offense as Lupa, regardless of who you look at. He does have his weaknesses, as does every player. Tin is a very new player in terms of being exposed in the scene, and I think the way he plays is very good for a tournament setting. I don't know how well he does in overall, which is why I can't rate him entirely. I've only had 3 games against him overall, but I can see that he has potential. I can see that he's a very skilled player, and I can see he understands a lot of characters and how they should be played, and his character knowledge is there. I think with a few more years, he can be up there with the better players. And I'm very happy to see a young player like him put in the effort and become so good in such a short period of time. It's players like him that we need more of in the scene, and just unfortunately, the players like him that we lack. Obviously, there are more players, but those are the two that I want to point out right now. And the rest, you don't have to worry about for now because I don't want to. I'm a civil man. I'll keep it very civil at this point.
Don't want to ruffle any feathers. Well, I got not really a question, but I'll phrase it as one. How do you rate Core Nova as a player compared to? How do you rate Core Nova as a player compared to the top Australian players?
To be honest, I think Core Nova would be in top 10 at Australia,
Mm-hmm.
but he wouldn't. But just outside, like just around 8, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion.
No, that's fair.
Maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 in terms of players.
Mm-hmm. Now, Australian Tekken, like more so in the past than recently. Well, even recently, because we are competitive. Like as close knit as the scene is now, like we're still pretty competitive. Like you've seen a lot of rivalries throughout the years. Like, do you have that one player like that's constantly on your mind, or you'd like to have like that epic money match with down the line, or like, not even money match, exhibition match with? Would you like to call out anyone at any point in time?
Not entirely. The people that I like playing, I don't really have a rival. The people I consider my rivals are the people that I play against the most, and they're mostly Australian players. So my absolute favorite person to play against is Lucky Strikes. You will never have he's not a person that I mentioned, but I think he's the best player in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. In terms of Yomi, nothing like it in Australia. No one has that. He's played the game at a certain level where he's the best. I think you
that's him. That's him at his peak, because obviously he plays very inconsistently nowadays.
Yes, obviously, but in his peak, definitely the best player in Australia. Right now, I still think he has potential, but I'm not considering him because he's not a very competitive player, if I want to say that word.
Mm-hmm.
But if he shows up more, I think he can definitely show up. So he's my favorite person to play against because he does things that no other player has ever done in Australia. Like even Dion, even Navid. So for example, I was versing his Jack, and he did debugger.
Yeah.
But he failed the attempt, so he got it down 4-1. And I knew that he failed debugger.
Mm-hmm.
So he came up to me, stopped, measured my timing. Instead of doing debugger, he did the death fist.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that I knew that he failed the input,
mm-hmm.
and he mind gamed the shit out of me with that. No one does this.
Yeah.
It's beautiful Tekken. That kind of Yomi is only developed when you have a good understanding of the game and a good read on your opponent. And you're not just playing your game. You're like saying, oh, my move's going to counter here, I'm going to get launched. You're like understanding every change, every minuscule difference in set play and overall neutral game. And I think that's what makes playing him a great, something great. I also like playing Dion. Dion is one of the people who isn't given enough credit. He actually has taught a lot of people how to get better at the game, me included. He introduced me to the concept of timing. And because of that, my entire playstyle changed. I always talk to him about the game, like ask him for advice, and he's always always gives me a helping hand. And I try to explain to him like stuff about Kazumi, like the ask for combos or ball combos or whatever. And I think that kind of exchange between like a really good player and a player that wants to learn more is a great thing. So you have to get, like, people will say Dion is annoying to verse or is a cunt. I completely disagree.
No, like I like 100% agree with you, and like I'm probably like at fault for that more so than anyone. But like when push comes to shove and we're being serious, Dion, like you said, is like an exceptional teacher. Like when he's not trolling, like sometimes he's trolling, but like with a purpose. So he's an exceptional teacher. Like me, like a lot of other players, I can pretty much vouch for. They have gotten better because of him.
I remember one of the very first, like, really long sets I had in Tekken 7 was playing against Dion, and this was after he started like teaching me. I would go to CA, which is City Amusements, like very often, like maybe once or three times a week because the game had just came out, and I would spend like $40 losing to Dion, like each night, and I didn't care. Like I wanted to get better, and then eventually I deathmatched Dion where he was playing Lars and I was playing Claudio. And this match went for over 3 hours, and we had 3 people just watching the entire thing. They didn't say anything; they just watched it. They didn't even want to get on. They just watched the 3-hour death match, and the final score was I think 17-21 my way, and I beat him, and I promoted my Claudio to the first time I ever got Vindicator, and I could not believe like how much fun I had. Like I didn't even care that I was losing a lot of it. I was on demotion. I got demoted. I won special revenge match, which was in 7.0. I came back. I put him on demotion. He came back. He came back to promotion, and I came back. And it went so back and forth that I felt like I was learning everything about the game just from that very one set. And I think that set leveled me up more than any other set I've ever had in Tekken.
Yeah. It's just Dion, like Australia would not be where they are right now. Like most of us without Dion. So like we got to give credit to him. Credit where credit's due.
I like your comment.
You can know that I love him. I like to troll as much as Dion does. But
Is that gunshots I hear?
I'm just checking the chat to see if we had any questions. I thought there was one. Do you have any personal players in particular you look to, like, you know, professional wise, as the ones you're always like just as a way of looking to improve?
Okay, so my favorite player and the person who I give a lot of credit for molding my style as a Kazumi player is Kokoma. I finally got to meet him at OHN, and he was just as interesting in real life as I thought he'd be. He's a very animated, very happy, very jovial young adult, and it was like really interesting to see the way he is as a person. And in Tekken, he's like really serious when he wants to play, and at the same time, he's like really. I think he's putting on a show for the fans. Like you see him, he's very animated in front of the camera. So I didn't expect that, but I really liked the way he plays Tekken, so I looked up to him. But going further back, before I even knew Kokoma, I always liked Nee. His playstyle is one of the main reasons is the way I play today, where he plays a very slow, methodical approach to the game, where he wants to download his opponent over time. That's how I've always liked to play the game. It's usually those types of players that really get to me. So like the ones that aren't really concentrating on, I need to beat my opponent within the first 10 seconds of the round. It's the ones where they're like, I'm going to try and see exactly what he's going to do, and I'm going to do the best option to beat exactly what he's going to do, because I know that he's going to do it. So it's those players, like, it's why I really like watching Korean Tekken. And a lot of people will disagree with me. They like watching the fast Tekken. They don't enjoy watching slow Tekken. But obviously that just comes down to preference. So that's why I was drawn to Nee's style. I was drawn to Kokoma's style.
You put JDCR in that realm of people?
No, I'm not a fan of JDCR in terms of deathmatch. In terms of deathmatches, JDCR is not a great player, because if you watch him, he very rarely performs well in death matches against the top players. If you watch him in tournament, I think he's a great player for tournament, and I love watching him in tournament. It doesn't matter if he's in the finals every time. Like, people complain about that, but I think he's very well deserving of a final spot if he's going to be playing so well that he's going to beat everyone and leave a path of destruction every tournament. So there's other players, but they just don't come to mind. But if I just want to throw some names out there, I'll say like Only Practice, who's like execution god with Nino just makes it look flawless. Yeah, so that's about it. I don't want to babble on, but yeah,
No, that's
me
fine.
and Kokoma.
We got a couple more questions before we end off. Do you have like one particular moment that was during your time of playing Tekken that stands out? Like, what's your best moment, if any?
Oh, sorry. Also, Rec Daddy just pointed out one of the other players, and that's Go Attack.
Okay.
Attack. No words to describe his playstyle, but yeah, it's interesting. To get back to your question, top moment. I really don't know, because there's a lot of tournament, no, not a tournament, a lot of moments where I felt like it's given me a boost of confidence in terms of my skill. And I don't know if I can pinpoint it to one thing, but maybe the time where
The time you beat CTC at IMAX?
Oh no, I can't hold that against you. I'm surprised you remember that.
No, Lazy Dave had the good sense to point it out in the chat. I can't even imagine what that tournament must have been like.
That was a funny tournament because I actually versed Lucky Strikes for the first time in that tournament, and our match was the most troll match you'll ever see in your life. I literally did nothing but fly 4 with Jinpachi for an entire round. And he ate every single one. My Yomi was too good.
Oh, that's hilarious. That factoring in the lag of a screen that size, that's... I've always fantasized about playing on a screen like IMAX, and then you factor in, oh, hang on, lag, yeah.
And then the next round, all he did was Kuma Hell Sweep, and he beat me. So yeah, it was like an eye for an eye. And I ended up losing. But no, I think the best moment is not a single moment, but it's just a series of events that happened which led me to believe, hey, I'm doing pretty well for myself in Tekken 7. I think I've started improving, and I'm happy with where I'm going. Obviously, I don't think I'm a great player. I obviously have a lot of things to improve on. I think, like, if I'm being very honest, I think I'm a very good defensive player in terms of spacing, with punishment, movement. I think my main weakness is the offense, and I really hope to improve them in the future. But just to know that I'm on the right track is something that makes me happy.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a true warrior spirit. Very hard on himself. Don't get it twisted. Alchemist is a great player. But yeah. And on that note, I think we'll end it there. I think we already know the answer to that question, Chrono. But dude, I just like to thank you again. Like, I don't know how often I'm gonna be doing these, but thank you for being #1 guest. Like, I really appreciate it. Thanks for the wealth of stories.
Thank you for having me. It was really enjoyable. I'm sorry if I wasn't as engaging with the audience.
No, you were fine, dude. Like, this was great. This was great, and I'm pretty sure everyone who listens to this will agree. Like, it's good to get a take on, like, you know, because like you said, you're one of the more analytical players in the scene, very methodical. So it's good to get a take on like your mindset and the approach from that type of player. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyable.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll have, like, if I continue this, we'll have you on again for sure.
Sorry, can I just answer one last question before I go?
Yeah, go for it.
Raven Boy keeps pointing it out. I don't believe there's a top 10 as well. It's like top 12 or 13 players. So yeah. And if you want me to actually list those players, I'm not going to do it today because I'm a civil man.
Alright. Another topic for another episode. On that note, we're going to end temporarily. We'll call it Beastcast. I'll come up with a name for by the time I get around to the next one. So thanks everyone for listening. Like, big shout out to the New Zealand podcast, Salt Shaker. Thanks Chrono for giving us a plug. I'm gonna paste the link to his Twitch channel in the chat. So be sure to check out his podcast. They do a lot of good stuff and showcase what the New Zealand FGC is about. So be sure to give them a like. Thanks again for everyone tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'll get around to another one. Like, I will update on people on who the next guest is. Like, I'm a Tekken player, so we'll keep this Tekken dedicated, but like, I dabble in other games as well. So we'll try and get some other guests from other genres every once in a while. So, but on that note, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning into Beastcast, and yeah, peace. Thanks again, Alchemist, for being the guest.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
No worries. Cheers. Peace out, everybody.